Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, as Hezbollah launches strikes against Israel, the U.S. is trying to prevent the battles along the border with Lebanon from turning into a full-scale war. All of that coming as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government could face a major political crisis. You heard the chant during pro-Palestinian protests on U.S. college campuses this year. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. We're going to hear from an expert who monitors the Palestinians about why the goal behind that ideology is the destruction of Israel. The Supreme Court ready to step into the debate over state bans on gender-affirming care and transgender treatments for minors. We're going to see why this is such an important case. And our Studio 5 look at a unique film telling the story of Jesus in sign language for the deaf. All those stories and more coming up next, right here on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Lots to get to on a busy Wednesday. Let's begin with the ongoing strikes by Hezbollah against Israel as the U.S. is pushing for a diplomatic solution to end the fighting before it turns into a full-scale war. And while that warfare is going on, Israeli Supreme Court ruling on the draft could pose serious problems for the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl brings us the story, reporting from Jerusalem.
The U.S. is warning Hezbollah that it can't stop Israel from going to war to stop the terror group's daily attacks on the north.
Hezbollah's provocations threaten to drag the Israeli and Lebanese people into a war that they do not want.
Still, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is urging Israel's visiting defense minister to seek a diplomatic solution.
Another war between Israel and Hezbollah could easily become a regional war, with terrible consequences for the Middle East.
Yoav Gallant says Israel is determined to establish security in the north and bring back some 80,000 citizens evacuated from their homes. He urged the U.S. to focus on heading off another threat, Iran getting nuclear weapons.
The greatest threat to the future of the world and the future of our region is Iran, and time is running out.
Inside the country, Israel's Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that ultra-Orthodox young men must now serve in the military. The community, which now has 65,000 young men, has been exempt from military draft since 1948, when Israel's first prime minister allowed 400 students to study full-time as a spiritual blessing to the state.
And broader Israel said that there needs to be equality. How can there be tens of thousands who are being exempt from military service when everyone else is serving?
Former Knesset member Dov Lipman tells CBN News some of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition partners are ultra-Orthodox who don't want their people drafted.
There's no way these ultra-Orthodox parties can stay in a government where that's the government policy, and that could collapse the government and lead to a new election.
And in what could be considered a local U.S. victory for Israel, Democrat Representative Jamal Bowman was defeated in a New York primary race. Bowman had accused Israel of genocide in Gaza, and his defeat is seen as a referendum on progressives' attitudes toward Israel. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here in the U.S., Jamal Bowman's defeat at the hands of a pro-Israel Democrat comes after the pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel demonstrations this spring on major U.S. college campuses. CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell spoke with Itamar from the Palestinian Media Watch about some of the ideology that was on display in those protests and the long-term goal it has for the destruction of Israel. Take a look.
Itamar, in rallies around cities around the world and on college campuses in the U.S. and other nations, we hear the call, Palestine shall be free from the river to the sea. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
There's no doubt that that means the elimination and destruction of Israel. It's a phrase that has appeared in the Arabic and even in the English in Palestinian Authority education. There was a big poster that the Ministry of Education of the Palestinian Authority put on their Facebook page, and it had exactly those words with a map of all of Israel, which they defined as Palestine. They said all of Palestine is ours from the river to the sea. It means destroying Israel. That people can do this and say, oh, we just want to free Palestine. It's just there's so many smoke screens out there. There's so much PR out there. These are genocidal, anti-Israel, want to destroy Israel, and the world has to accept them and recognize what they really are.
Isn't there a great difference between the culture of Palestinians in the West Bank and those in Gaza?
There's not a great difference between the Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza. If we look at all the polls, we see similar support for Hamas. In fact, I'll point out something interesting. There is greater support for Hamas since the October 7th war started in the West Bank than there is in Gaza. They all support the ideology of Hamas to destroy Israel, but in Gaza, because they had so much suffering, so they don't all support Hamas. But still, it's way over 50%. It's in the area of 70%, and in the West Bank, it's in the area of 80%. So it's a myth that the West Bank Arabs want to live beside Israel in peace. And only the Gazans want to destroy them. And I'll just remind you one more thing. The only democratic election that the Palestinian Authority had, which was in 2006, both in Gaza and in the West Bank, they voted for Hamas. And if anything, since 2006, Hamas has become infinitely stronger, unless, as I say, and I've said many times, they need a total re-education of this population before there'll be people that Israel can live beside in peace.
Yeah. And is there a great support for what happened on October 7th within the West Bank?
There's tremendous support within the West Bank for what happened on October 7th. There was a poll taken a month and a half after October 7th, at which time, everybody knew what happened. Everybody knew about the rape and the destruction and the massacres. Palestinians were asked, is everything that's happened up till now, does it make you proud as a Palestinian? And 98% of Palestinians said it made them proud. In fact, 94% said extremely proud and 4% said somewhat proud. The killing of Jews and the massacres and the rape and the humiliation and the degradation made Palestinians proud. 98%. So that is not something that happened in a vacuum. That came through years of education where they were told that what happened is something that's important for nationalism for Palestinians, and it's also important for the Palestinian interpretation of Islam, which says the Jews have no right to exist and will eventually all be exterminated.
Well, sobering results, Itamar. Thanks for joining us and giving us your insight into what's really happening there in the West Bank and the PA.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Coming up here at home, the Supreme Court taking on a challenge to the bans in some states on gender-affirming care. We're going to bring you a look at what could be a very important case and more when we come back.
Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today.
The United States Supreme Court is jumping into the heated debate over transgender rights. The justices agreeing to hear a case from the Biden administration challenging state bans on gender-affirming care and transition treatments for minors. CBN's Wendy Griffith is on this story.
25 states have passed bans on gender-affirming care, and several are on hold due to litigation. The case before the High Court involves a Tennessee law that prohibits transgender minors from receiving puberty blockers, hormone therapies, and invasive surgical procedures. The Biden administration and some parents claim the law prohibits what they call life-saving treatment.
Yeah, the Department of Justice will absolutely take the position that this is life-saving care. That has been the mantra of this administration from day one of the Biden presidency.
Sarah Parshall-Perry of the Heritage Foundation says the court will be asked to decide if the laws violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
The Supreme Court is going to approach the Equal Protection Clause by making a determination of whether or not sex is the same as gender identity and vice versa. Sex has been considered a quasi-suspect class for purposes of Equal Protection Clause analysis, and that requires a heightened level of judicial scrutiny. But gender identity and transgender status have never held to be the same, especially by the Supreme Court, to be the same as biological sex.
Meanwhile, England and other European nations are backing away from transition treatments for minors after studies showed weak evidence that they lead to long-term positive impact.
This is one instance in which I think Europe is headed in the right direction. In addition to that, we are now seeing Norway, Finland, Sweden, and now the most recent addition is Scotland, who has backed off the use of chemical castration agents as well.
There's also a growing number of people who underwent gender transition that are seeking to revert back to their biological gender. They're warning distressed children and their families about rushing into life-altering medical decisions.
So at a certain point, I think the Supreme Court is going to have to reference the fact that this is a highly debatable area of public discourse. It is a political hot topic.
Ultimately, Perry believes the High Court will keep the issue with the states.
There is not going to be a willingness to pluck a constitutional right to experimental medical treatment out of thin air and certainly pull it from the ethers of the Constitution. That is going to be a question I think the judges will find better suited for the state houses.
The High Court will hear the case in the fall, and the justices will rule on the case around this time next year. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Turn now to Texas, where state abortion restrictions are leading some women on the border to look for other options. CBN's Heather Sells brings us the report on one pro-life ministry in Eagle Pass that's offering an alternative.
There is a high-stakes battle for the lives of unborn children here in Eagle Pass, Texas. And that is because women here can easily go across the border into Mexico and obtain an abortion.
They offer the pill and other types of abortion just right across the river. And so if someone wants to, they can seek that out.
While the issue of migrants flooding the border to get into the U.S. is well known, Americans may be unaware of pregnant women crossing into Mexico for an abortion that is legal and typically low cost.
They can just go quite easily and then come back without really knowing the consequences of those actions or not really having the support.
3 years ago, Texas passed the heartbeat law banning abortions after 6 weeks. A week later, the Mexican Supreme Court decriminalized abortion. Latin American abortion advocates, known as the Green Wave, now offer abortions in Mexico to women coming from the U.S. They can find clinics in tourist destinations like Cancun and right across the Rio Grande. In addition to these clinics, women in Eagle Pass can also choose to obtain abortion pills by mail. It's one reason why missionary Amy Crabtree and believers here started Promise Family Services.
We are the only pregnancy resource center here in Eagle Pass. The closest one is about an hour away.
The center provides free pregnancy testing, counseling for pregnant women who may consider abortion, and coaching for those who have endured sexual abuse, a miscarriage, or abortion.
A lot of times, these sexually related traumas accompany one another. It's usually not just one. And so our heart is to see women and their families healed and restored in all areas of their life.
Walking alongside women navigating trauma or pregnancy is the heartbeat of this fledgling ministry.
And I love doing it. It's awesome, the work, to be able to be with a woman who's going to have her baby and support her and love on her. And that's just a real practical way that I can show God's love.
That love can be seen in free baby showers, a very tangible show of support for about-to-be moms who have said yes to life. No one knows just how many women are obtaining abortions in Mexico or buying pills online. What is clear is that they're easily accessible, especially along the border. That makes relational encouragement like these showers and Promise Family Services all the more important in the fight to protect life. Reporting in Eagle Pass, Texas, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Still ahead, our Studio 5 look at the new movie about Jesus, the film telling the story for the deaf completely in sign language. We've got it for you. It's coming up right after this. To CBN NewsWatch. The movie Jesus, a Deaf Missions Film, is giving deaf audiences the rare chance to experience the story of Jesus in a feature film entirely in American Sign Language. I sat down with the film's director for more. How did this movie get started? I know it's been a few years. How did it get started?
I grew up in a Christian family. I remember watching the Jesus of Nazareth movie, and I loved that movie. I feel like I watched it probably every year, and I thought, the captions are okay, but what would it look like if something like this was done in sign language? Fast forward a little bit to the time when I met a guy named Michael Davis, who works with Gum Vision Studios as a producer. He's deaf. We met and started dreaming about let's do this movie on Jesus. I approached the CEO of Deaf Missions, Chad, about our idea. I said, I think God's calling us to make this full feature film on the life of Jesus in sign language. Everything, from one deaf person's heart to the next in sign language. And he was on board with it.
Let's talk about the need for a moment. I was reading that potentially the deaf community, only 2 to 4% possibly believe or are Christians.
Many deaf people don't have access. Most deaf people are born to hearing parents who don't know sign language. So they grow up often in a world, so to speak, where they're not getting information. So therefore, they don't hear about Jesus. They don't learn about Jesus. I'm grateful for my parents who were hearing, who learned sign language, and through that they were able to tell me about Jesus. But often that's not the case. Up until now, there's not been a resource like this. When they see something like this that is such a high quality production, and the fact that it's going to be in a movie theater initially, we're praying that this will increase the number of deaf people that know about Jesus based on this movie.
Take me back to the set in the making of the film. What was that like? Did you feel the Holy Spirit's presence in the production?
I think every set that we filmed on, certainly I know was provided by God. The biggest thing that we wrestled with was the set that would look like Rome. We're trying to figure out where we could film that, but through some research and God's leading, we found a studio in Bulgaria that we were hoping to take our team to, but we didn't know how it would work. And we're a deaf crew and they're a hearing crew there in Bulgaria. But through conversations and God leading, He made it happen. And when we got there, they just welcomed us with open arms. God provided in amazing ways.
I'm curious, how'd you find Jesus?
That's a great question. Before we did this particular movie, we did a shorter segment called Uncondemned, a short movie. When we were doing some casting for that, someone said, hey, I've got this guy that we think could portray Jesus well. And so I reached out to him, and from there, we casted him for Uncondemned, and he was ready to serve in the Jesus movie as well.
what's your prayer for the film?
We have been praying for a couple of things. One, that deaf people would walk away knowing Jesus more, whatever that looks like for their journey. That means, okay, I understand now who Jesus is, or I want to follow Jesus more. Whatever that looks like, that's our prayer, is that it impacts the deaf community. The second thing is that as hearing people go and watch it, that they would walk away understanding more about the deaf community and the deaf world.
Jesus, a Deaf Mission is showing now in select theaters. Be sure to join us for an all-new edition of Studio 5 this evening. We've got a first look at Kevin Costner's Horizon, an American Saga. It's an epic Western film Costner produced, directed, and funded with $38 million of his own money. We talked to him and some of the cast of the film, and you can watch the all-new episode of Studio 5 tonight on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, or you can watch it on YouTube. We'll be right back with an encouraging word for your Wednesday. Stay with us.
Download the CBN News app. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Watch CBN News Channel Live. CBN News, because truth matters. Get the CBN News app today.
Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is restore. Know this: God will restore all. You didn't lose out. You haven't missed your moment. It's not too late. You aren't too old. Your moment is now. God stands ready to restore. It's time for you to stand ready to receive. With that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online. That's cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow. Goodbye. God bless.